Go vote for the Greens. Even go vote for Reform. But there is not one single justification for one vote cast for these Tory pricks when the evidence that we see, they're even laughing at us in Parliament. I mean, how much more can we take than actually being laughed at because the guy works at Iceland? Greetings! Now, a couple of weeks ago I made a video where I was highlighting the fact that Rishi Sunak does not give two tosses about the problems of working people. He could not care less about the rise in homelessness. When it was brought to his attention in Parliament that there was a family that had lost their home and were living in a van, he brushed the question aside. He could not care less. He jeered it off and started rabbiting on about it's Labour's fault. Now, I don't care where you sit on the political spectrum. I don't care if you think Labour will be worse or if you can't stand Keir Starmer. I don't care about that. That's not what I'm going to talk about here. All I want to highlight is the fact that this government that are in power right now, these ones that are in Parliament right now, do not give two shits about any problems of working people. And it showed again this week. Keir Starmer, again, brought to his attention the fact that there was an Iceland worker who had to renegotiate their mortgage and suddenly is paying £1,000 more per month. Real problems from real people. Like I say, I don't care what you think about Starmer, but these are real problems that real people are dealing with. And it's Keir Starmer's job as the leader of the opposition to bring this to the attention of the government, to do something about it and to justify why these things are happening. What did Sunak do? Well, let's watch, shall we?
Somebody coming off a fixed-rate mortgage is going to be paying an average of £240 more each and every month. A constant reminder that working people are paying the price for the damage that they've done to the economy. This week, I met one of the employees at Iceland in Warrington, Phil. I'm sure Phil would be...
I mean, they're literally laughing at us now. They're standing up, jeering and laughing at us in Parliament, laughing at us with our problems.
Laughing at an employee at Iceland who's struggling with his mortgage. Shame. He told me that his mortgage is going up by a staggering £1,000 a month, Prime Minister. He doesn't want other averages, other people, other stories. That's what's happening to him. If the member for Mid-Norfolk on £120,000 can't afford this Tory government, how on earth can people like Phil?
Well, actually, Mr. Speaker, thanks to the management of the economy, Phil and millions of people like him are now ensuring that inflation is less than half of the rate that it was when we were talking a year ago, putting more money in their pocket. And thanks to this government, Phil and millions of other workers, not just at Iceland, but across the country, are benefiting this month in their pay packet for a tax cut worth hundreds of pounds for someone on an average salary.
So his response is to pretend that everything's okay. Actually, our economic plan is fantastic, and all the things we're doing is helping Phil's situation. That's his response. That's his response. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. Who do you think we are? Who does he take us for? Does he think we're a bunch of idiots? Okay? The country is fucked. Just come out and say it. I mean, why can't he just come out and say, look, my predecessor, Liz Truss, made massive mistakes. We all know it. Everyone knows it. That's the reason why people are paying sky-high mortgages. She made a mistake. I'm here to try and do my best to turn this around. Just be fucking honest. It winds me up so much when they just pretend that everything's okay. Everything's fine, actually. Yeah, it's no problem. Everything's all right. Phil, you know, we're going to save you £100 on the tax cut. Even though your council tax is going up, it doesn't matter.
And he says everything's fine, people are better off. But when people see their mortgages going up, their council tax going up, food prices still going up, who does he expect them to believe? His boasts or their bank account?
Minister! Genuinely surprised to see that the Shadow Chancellor just today has announced that she now supports the government's policy on the bankers' bonus cap. I don't know if he mentioned that to Phil when he was having a chat with him, but I'm sure he can fill us out. But I can tell him that trust and economic credibility come from sticking to a plan. But again, when the Shadow Chancellor says or claims that they won't borrow much, they won't raise Phil's taxes, we now know that those promises simply, again, they just aren't worth the Wikipedia page they were copied from.
Mr. Speaker, I actually didn't expect him to be laughing at Phil. I did not expect him to be laughing at Phil, not addressing the topic.
And now he's making jokes. He's making jokes about copy and paste Wikipedia page. Do you really think this is time for jokes? Do you think that's what the British public want to hear from you right now? Joking, making jokes of the situation of this guy that's paying an extra £1,000 a month on his mortgage. You think it's funny? You think that's what we want to hear? Honestly, this lot, they have to go. I think the majority of people will agree with that. But they don't have to just go. They have to be annihilated off the face of the planet. They need to be destroyed for what they've done to this country. And there is no justification for a single vote cast for this lot. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear, oh yeah, but Labour will be worse, Labour will be worse. There's no justification for that argument. The only way you can have that argument is if you're basing that argument on the previous Labour government. If you think that the previous Labour government were worse than this Tory government, that's the only way that you can have that opinion. And obviously, if you actually look at the facts and figures, I've done a video before, the differences between the 2000s and 2010s. When were we better off? There's no justification for it. Everything is worse under this Tory government. NHS is worse. Schools are worse. Towns and cities are worse. Homelessness is worse. Borrowing is worse. Government debt, immigration, if that's your thing, is worse. Housing crisis. Opportunities for young people, apprenticeships. Everything is worse under the Tories over the last 13 years. There is not one justification for a single vote cast for the Tories. And I still don't get it. I still look in disbelief even when you get like the recent by-election results and stuff. Even the ones that Labour win, and you see like 10,000 people voted for the Tories. How can they justify it? How can they justify it? Like I say, I can't have this argument anymore. Labour will be worse. I can't have it. If you've got that argument, please put in the comments section, justify it to me, because you need some evidence. You need some evidence that the previous Labour government was worse, when we can quite clearly see by all the facts and figures that every single aspect of this country is worse after 13 years of Tory government. Or you need to have some serious justification for why you think a Keir Starmer Labour government will be worse than the previous one. Now, I get it. If you don't like Starmer and you're left with, go vote for the Greens. Even go vote for Reform. But there is not one single justification for one vote cast for these Tory pricks when the evidence that we see, they're even laughing at us in Parliament. I mean, how much more can we take than actually being laughed at because the guy works at Iceland and their reaction is jeering and laughing? That's what you want to vote in? That's what you want to tick your box for? Another 5 years of that? If you enjoyed the video, click a like. If you haven't subscribed, you can subscribe up top. There'll be another video there. You can watch that as well. Oh my God, these Tory pricks, they've got to go. They have got to go, and they have to be annihilated. I do not want to see another single MP. And what I do want to see, whenever this election comes around, I'm going to have a few beers and I'm going to relax, and I want to see the faces of Jacob Rees-Mogg in a school hall somewhere in Somerset losing. I want to see Jeremy Hunt in a town hall somewhere up against Binface losing. I want a whole night of just these Tory pricks being annihilated off the face of the fucking planet. Till next time, take care.